Hello everyone, welcome back. Yes, well, I am finally back, and apologies for being away for a little while. Those of you who follow me on my Instagram would probably understand why I've been away, but also I've been having some issues with my city's skylines. There were some issues with like households, and like all of the buildings were coming up as zero households, zero jobs, so I had to go through, completely fix up all of that. So you might notice the population is a little bit lower, but anyway, I am back now. My game is working properly. It took me so long to figure out what to do, and I can't even explain it because it's too long. Anyway, in today's video, we are finally doing this big harbor area. It's a mega harbor in comparison to everything else that is in this whole region. It is a mega harbor. Now, of course, there's going to be other bigger harbors, but for me, it's a mega harbor. So the first thing that I like to do is to design it with the roads. So designing out those little pointy parts. I don't really know what they're called, but it's a very common look for a harbor area. And I just use the roads because it's just easy. You use the guidelines to point out where it goes. And so those points will be where some of the ships will come in. It's where there's going to be big areas for the cargo to be, you know, lined up and stacked. And it just makes it look really good doing it like that. And even just going like that, you can already see it's getting that really common look of a harbor area. We're also going to be doing a harbor up near the road there as well, and it extends a lot. You'll see throughout this video. Now, I should mention this video probably took about 4 hours to make, which you might think, well, geez, that's a lot. But the thing is, I built it over several different days, slowly just doing a little bit here and there, tweaking it. But obviously, I've had to condense it down so much for you guys. And you'll notice little bits here and there are cut out. So you won't see me putting down like every single industrial building, every single office building. But there are going to be a lot of industrial buildings. Of course, there's going to be some office buildings. There's going to be a lot of those unique style factories. I forget what they're called. When you click on the warehouse button, you have all of those extra factories, like there's like a bakery, there's like a shoe place, a car one. You guys will see them throughout. So I try to put down as many of those throughout this area. And the interesting thing about putting down all of those unique factories is that it creates so much money. I end up creating it influxes the profits, but it ends up being over 200,000 in-game money profit, which is really crazy. And actually 80% of my total city income would come from these buildings that I've put in this harbor area. So this harbor is going to really change the whole city. It's going to be very busy, and a lot of the time you might think, well, I put in a lot of roundabouts, but I've decided this time not to do roundabouts. I've decided to do a lot of just hard intersections because I want to have the chance to use the time traffic lights and to use merging lanes, use all the different things, use line markings, which will be a bit of a challenge, but I'm really looking forward to it. And throughout the video, you will see that there are a lot of busy areas. There's a lot of truck traffic that builds up. So next video is going to be all about managing that, and it gets really hectic. So keep a lookout for that. The easiest thing I find is to just make a basic grid system. So your main roads, make them kind of grid-like, just so it's easier for you to visualize. I don't usually say that because I don't usually like doing grids, but most of the time you'll see harbors that just have very straight, boring lines. It's going to be really busy, so you need to be able to visualize everything, and having all of these straight lines makes everything fit in a lot easier because it just looks nicer, you know what I mean? There's not going to be a huge amount of cargo ship areas like this that I'm putting down. There's only going to be 3. Reason being is because you know how bad it gets when you have a lot of different harbors. It can produce so many different ships, and it can get really messy. I decided to put this one over here. This is the one that has the train on it. It had to go over here just because of the shape of the train line. So first of all, we had to get rid of all of that water. So in Watch the City, it's all flooding over there. Oh well. Anyway, there is a train line that goes all the way from Safed, which is the city right down on the peninsula, goes all the way through the cities and comes down to this point here. And you'll see how the train, it's on that angle, it points out into the sea. So we had to make sure that it's easy for the train to come in onto that angle. So usually you'd put it on areas like the little pointy parts there at the top of the screen, but then the train would have to do a really sharp turn to get in there, which just wouldn't look really good in my opinion. So putting it over here just allows the train to come in a lot easier. It makes it makes it look good as well. And since we have a main road here, all we have to do there is just to make it go down a little bit lower so the trucks can go underneath. Maybe it's a little bit steeper than usual, but it's still manageable and it's really not that much of a bigger deal. But definitely we could not cross the train line and the road together. That would just be too hectic because there's too many trains coming in. There's too much truck traffic. We need to have the truck and train traffic to all be flowing as easy as possible because it can build up so fast, which you guys will see throughout the video. So these are going to be the other two cargo ship areas. So there's only going to be 3. And honestly, 3 is enough. We don't need any more than that. A lot of ships will come in and out. I end up putting the budget for all of this right up to 150% because we have a lot. Like I said, those unique factories produce so much that we have a lot of trucks, a lot of trains, and a lot of ships. So we don't want to overdo it. Well, maybe I overdo it with all of the unique factories, but I'm up for the challenge. I'm looking forward to it. This part here, it might look a little bit unusual, but I just wanted to do something like this because I know how much traffic comes into these areas and you just need to have it like this so it can just flow in and out. But we'll have more on that throughout the video, but it's just best to do it like that. And yeah, otherwise it just gets too busy and we don't want that. And also, you see how that ship's like that? They just turn around and then they go into the terminal. It's like, why? Why would they make it like that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We can't really change how the ships turn around. This part here, that's just going to be a few office buildings. Like I said, they're scattered throughout the area, but most of this area is going to be offices and those unique factories. But it's still handy to have offices because we really don't have many. And we also put in this big shipyard here. I really like that one because first of all, it looks cool. And then I also like seeing it actually making the ship, and I like seeing the cranes moving around. It looks pretty cool. So definitely always include all of those. So these are all of the unique factories. Is that what they're called? Unique factories, unique buildings. They produce all of that random stuff. And they end up producing so much money, which is really good. And it's just a nice filler for the area too. It takes a while to fit them all in. Like I move things around here and there. But I really like that factory. That one looks so cool because it's kind of grungy as well. And I think it looks really cool next to the elevated train as well. Another thing I end up putting in is a lot of warehouses as well. So unique factories producing a lot of stuff, so we need somewhere to put all of those things. We also have a lot of industrial buildings in this area as well, so we need somewhere for all of that to go as well. There is a big warehouse area just on the other side of the highway, but you guys will see that area gets very, very busy as well, which is another area that we will need to manage. But it is still handy to have some little warehouses in this area, and also it's just good to fill in the spaces. I think it's also important, like, if you're gonna have trains through these areas, I think the best option is to make them elevated, because if you have those trains on the ground and they're going over all of the roads, oh my god, could you imagine the amount of traffic? Because those what are those called when the train comes, those gates go down, those can stay down for so long in this game, and it just builds up so much traffic, and the amount of trains that come into the harbour area, it's quite a lot, so there's always going to be a lot of waiting time. So that's why just make it elevated so it just really glides through and it's not really hassling anything at all. You'll notice I put in that extra train line there, but we don't actually need that, it's just for the look as well. And just connecting it over here on the other side of the highway, and that is pretty much it. The elevations are pretty much okay at this point. I don't think I really need to manage them too much. And they go over some buildings, which is okay, it's just using up the space. And in terms of trains, that's pretty much it. It's very simple. It probably increases the truck traffic, but that's alright, I'm up for the challenge. If you guys look down there, you might notice there's a whole lot of other little harbours there. So that is all shipyards, ship docks. Just because I think it looks cool having them in there, it just adds into it. I don't actually set them up, I just leave them like that. They're technically running, but there's no route for them to go. I just think it looks cool, it's just kind of filling in the space as well. So that's all that is. The ferry station is probably a little bit close. I should have moved it somewhere else, but I wanted it to be kind of in the heart of the harbour area as well, because there are going to be people coming into this area to work, because it ends up being about 5,500 jobs available for this area. So, and there's no residential nearby, so they do need some kind of public transport, which is going to be the ferry. So like I said, it ends up being utilised quite a lot. Alright, so by this point, yeah, you can see all that traffic's coming in. I haven't managed any of this, just so you know, so it's going to be red naturally. It's going to be really chaotic, like there's traffic lights where there shouldn't be traffic lights, they're changing lanes where they shouldn't be changing lanes, they're turning where they shouldn't be. Like, it's really all over the place, but I'm looking so forward to next episode to manage all of it. It's going to be exciting but probably a frustrating video as well, because I'll do something and then I'll change it, and then I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'll have all these different ideas. So, but I'll try to edit it so it's not too annoying for you guys, but it'll probably take me a while because the traffic on the highway is also, it backs up all the way to the other city on the other side of the water over in El Samhara. So a lot of traffic to manage, but definitely looking forward to it. Anyway, this is the last little area that we do, just filling it in with some generic industrial buildings because there was a huge demand at that point for industry. By the end of this video, all of the industry demand was met, which is good, but then we had a huge demand for commercial areas because you can see there's not enough buyers for a lot of these buildings now. So in El Samhara, when we build the downtown busier areas, we're going to do a huge amount of commercial because that's what they really need. But anyway, this is the final look before we manage all of the traffic in the next episode. It's really, really full. Look at the ship there. That ship's almost done. It's probably going to disappear in a second, but you can see the cranes going around there. Actually, traffic isn't too bad at this point, but trust me, it gets really bad. Not too many cargo ships coming in, which is good because I'm always afraid that they'll kind of overdo it. I also added in this seawall, which I think is really cool. Not that it really works, but it just kind of adds to the look, and I think it looks really, really good because a lot of the times they do have those anyway, so adding that in is a nice little touch there. It looks kind of chaotic, doesn't it? But that's another area that we need to manage down here. That one is pretty, never noticed how bad it was. And then if you look over here as well, it's all backed up all the way down in through there, trying to merge off into those harbor areas. But yeah, we'll manage all of that in the next episode. I'm not too worried because I know we can try to fix it up to the best of our ability. Time traffic lights, fixing up lanes, things like that. It's going to be interesting to do, but I'm not too worried. So like I said, ends up being about 5,000 jobs overall. Traffic is still bad, but we'll fix that up. There are a few random ships that come in. I need to delete those. We've got some military ships there, which are just kind of parked, just chilling there. And yeah, but anyway, I'll leave it there, and I'll probably do the traffic fixing video very soon because I'm really, really keen to get into that because it desperately needs to be fixed up. But anyway, that's all from me, and I'll catch you guys next time.